Welcome to our demo of the personalized recommendation system for Wells Fargo. The problem statement, as you all can see, that is AI powered hyper-personalization recommendation system, and it is made by Anirban, me Devtanu, Krishnendu, Narsima and Dwaipayan. This demo will walk you through the key APIs that power our recommendation engine and will show how they fit into the overall system architecture. Now let me show how our system is designed. Our system is designed to analyze the customer transactions, profiles, and product eligibility using a combination of API driven processing and LLM integration. So for this, how we started is we created our own database. Let me show you what we have done for this. We have leveraged MongoDB for storing all our data. So here you can see these 4 collections we have prepared as part of the groundwork. This customer table stores all the customer information. The customers can be either individual or small business or big corporate. Then there is the segment. The segment is what all segment the customer belongs to. That is either corporate or small business or individual. Then there is the product. Product table stores all the information that the product Wells Fargo offers to all its customers. So the product table, we are storing all the products segment wise. So you can see there is some segment ID related to some product. So this checking account, this product is only for this particular segment. This Wells Fargo prime checking, this is also for a particular segment. So the individual person, what all product is relevant to them, it is not the same for the other corporate customers. So that's why we have segmented, we have used this concept of segment and we have stored the product accordingly. Then there is this transaction collection where we are storing all the transactions. So as of now, we have stored only 15 days transaction. So these transactions are corporate as well as individual customer transactions, and we are storing the associated customer ID, transaction ID, and the product ID for which the transaction is being done. Now, once this is done, now it comes to the GenAI world. So now with this information, we have leveraged our LLMs to give actual response, actual recommendation that we want our customer to subscribe to. So how we have done it? We have made 3 APIs. So here you can see there are 3 APIs. One is this analyze recommendable transactions by date. One is this analyze customer product. This all. First I will show you this API. So what this API basically does is, you can see we have given the date. Date is a parameter for this API. So we have given the date as 9th February 2025. So what this API does is, so it fetches all the transaction that has been done on that date. So it fetches all the transactions from the transaction table. Once it fetches the transaction, it sees which all transaction can come into our consideration when we will recommend some product. Let me show you what this actually does. So in the transaction table, you can see that there is some column we have kept that is processed for recommendation. So this flag, whatever is there, true or false, that we are setting based on this LLM, this API output. So see this online ad campaign expense, this has been marked as true, but dinner with family, this has been marked with false. So what all transactions our model thinks that it is helpful for the recommendation system, it just tags it with true, and it gives the actual reason why it is thinking that we should consider it for the recommendation. So see this ad campaign, whatever I have shown you, why it has considered it, because the business expense suggests potential interest in business banking products or loans. So it has some link with that. That's why it marked this as true. Then next comes the second API. So now it comes to the actual recommendation. So how our model performs is, so once we have tagged all the transactions that is used for recommendation yes or no, then we can ask our LLM to query with the customer ID and it will give us all the products it should subscribe to. Let's say this is the customer ID is 108. Let me show you what the customer is. So this is the customer. This is a small business customer and these are all the attributes to it. Now let me show what all transaction it has done in the past 15 days. So these are all the transactions. You can see it has done this catering event revenue, coffee beans purchase and all. So some of the transactions are processed for recommendation as true. Only we will consider those many transactions for the recommendation part. Now, once all this information are available, then we are calling this API and we are invoking our LLM. So what response our LLM is generating? So these are the products, set of products it is suggesting. So priority wise it is given. So there are 4 products that the customer can use. First is this small business line of credit. So it is suggesting as the credit score is 710. So let me show you it is 710 or not. Let me check also. Yeah, so it is 710 only, right? So as this is a good score, so based on that it is giving us this line of credit product as a recommended product. Other than that, it has given the merchant services, navigate business checking and other products as well, and it has given the reasons why the customer should subscribe to it. So that's all we have built it, but I would like to show you something else as well. So first is how actually our model is working, the flow, whatever I have already shown you. Just for a sake of recap, I'm saying it again. So first we are calling this API. This API, what it does is, this API we are calling it with the customer ID. Then it queries the customer profile, and in the customer profile there is the 2-week transaction history is there. So we are querying the database with that, and the database returns us all the transactions it has done. Then we are querying the database again, the segment table we are querying, and we are getting the segment the customer is related to, and we are getting the products, all the products that is particular to that segment. So we are getting the list of products. So we have the list of transactions, we have the list of products. Now it's our job to ask the LLM to give the actual response. So what we are doing? So we are first computing the available product for recommendation. So P1 is the set of recommendation, set of products the customer is already using, that is P1, and P2 is other available, the total available product. So P2 minus P1 is the products that the customer is not subscribing. Now we are making the prompts and all, and we are querying the LLM, and the LLM is recommending what all products in that P2 minus P1 set that the customer can subscribe to. It doesn't have that currently, but it can subscribe to those recommendations our recommendation engine is giving. So that is all we have done. Now to onboard our application in the production, so there we can't use this same transaction table, customer table. It is not as simple as that, right? So how we can do is, we can have some kind of a app onboarding. So how we can do is, like, we are a black box to the other world. So any other team who wants to leverage our recommendation engine, they can subscribe to us. Once they are subscribing to us, they are sending their app info with the customer data for whom they want the recommendation. So once they give the information, we store it with us. Then we are giving them some API. Okay. Now the onboarding is completed. Then there is some transaction that happens in their system. So once that transaction is done, they can push that transaction data to the Kafka topic. Anyways, we only need the transaction data to recommend some product to our customer. So if some other team is pushing the transaction to Kafka topic, we can consume that data from there and we can store it with us in the transaction DB. And based on the transaction DB, what all we are doing it, we can do the same. Now, we have shown you another API to mark the transaction as the flag, what all we are setting, that whether it is recommendable or not. So should we consider the transaction for the recommendation or not? For that purpose, as it is not being done at the same time, we are not calling the API multiple times. So we can have some scheduler job that will run one day at some particular time, and it will go through all the transactions that has been done by all the customers for whom their team has subscribed to our product. So all the customers data, all the customer transactions are with us. So we'll go through all the transactions and we'll mark that flag whether we should consider the transaction for our recommendation service or not. So that's how we are going to achieve it. Everything is going to be event driven, and that is going to be the USP why you should take our product. That is, our product is decoupled to the system. So you can subscribe to us and you can leverage it. That's all. Thank you.